Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to start doing a new kind of thing. A couple of other people do it, but some of you might not watch their videos, but I'm going to do a first look, and that's going to be where we first look at a tank when Wargaming very first released the preview stats of a tank. And today we're doing the M5Y, the Yo tank, the tier 10, so this is going to be the top of the tech tree. The tier 10 M5Y Yo tank. And yeah, now first things first, all of these stats are subject to change. This is only very early on released to the Super Test server. Basically, I'm just going to give you the rundown of the tank. I'll leave some other tanks up here to compare to, just so you can kind of see what the numbers actually mean. And then, yeah, I'll just give you my opinion on the tank, just so as you guys kind of know what's coming up. Make sure as well you let me know what you think of this tank down in the comments. Make sure you give the video a like, subscribe, notifications, all that standard YouTuber crap. But first things first, let's jump in. And this tank actually has got two different guns to choose from. You've got a 105 or 120mm. We'll go through the 105 first. There are also some additional stats on this page just here that I will let you know as we go through. So 360 average damage per shot from the 105. Really on the low side. I think it's the lowest alpha damage for any tier 10 heavy. And obviously because you're running a 105, it is hasn't got very good overmatch characteristics. God, I couldn't say that. However, 268mm of standard pen, which is on APCR. Very, very nice. 315 on heat. Not the best, but not terrible. HE isn't that good, and it's only 105, so I probably wouldn't recommend. Reload time of 7.8 seconds gives this thing a DPM, I believe, of, I think I worked out earlier, is 2,769. Nice. Which is more than the Super Conqueror, so in terms of DPM, this gun is absolutely insane. Aim time of 2 seconds and dispersion of 0.35. If we look down to the Super Conk, you're pretty much rocking the same as an S Conk on this gun. So this gun, fairly similar to a Super Conqueror's gun, minus 10 degrees gun depression. If we look over onto the post as well, it has really, really nice shell velocities, 1400 meters per second on the standard APCR. And also 1,173 millimeters. I read millimeters there. Meters per second of shell velocity on the heat rounds, which is very nice for heat. Dispersions as well, also really, really nice. Dispersion during turret rotation is 0.06, which if we look again at the thingy, it's like better than the 277s, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, we don't know the dispersions whilst moving or traversing the tanks. They could be absolutely shocking. But so far, that gun looks insane. That, honestly, to me, looks like the gun of choice. Yes, it's obviously you haven't got the overmatch, but really you don't benefit much by having a 120 over a 105. If it was 121, it may be a slightly different story. But definitely this gun seems the best. On the 120, we have 440 Alpha. Not too bad. That's more of a standard tier 10 Alpha. Slightly less, obviously, than the 277. 252mm of standard AP pen. Not that great. 300mm heat pen as well. Not that great. I think what they probably should have done is given the heat maybe 340 pen. So it was like AP's worse, but heat slightly better. HE still isn't that great. 10.5 seconds aim time. I haven't done the maths on this one. Give me 2 seconds. Let's quickly. So 60 divided by 10.5 times that by 440. 2,514 DPM on this. So still a pretty decent DPM. I think that puts it somewhere between the 277 and the 5A, which is quite nice. Obviously not quite as high alpha damage though. 0.38 dispersion and 2.5 seconds aim time. Again, this is now looking more like a 277. So I think this gun, you should expect things like the 277. If we look at the shell velocities, 1120 on both AP and heat, which is, again, that's still pretty good, but nowhere near that 1400 on the 105. 0.1 dispersion whilst moving the turret. Again, we don't know the rest of the dispersions, but that's pretty good. That's the same as the S-Conk, so really not too bad. But looking at the two guns, I would definitely recommend, as of right now, obviously, we don't know the true stats and everything like that. But as of right now, I would 100% recommend the 105mm gun. Yes, it's got lower alpha. You do get more shells kind of as a compensation, so you can do roughly similar damage, I think. But definitely, the 105 is going to be the way to go on that. Mobility-wise, 40 kilometers an hour forwards, 25 in reverse. Forwards isn't amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. 40 kilometers an hour forwards on a heavy tank, that's much quicker than the S-Conk. When you compare it to things like the 277, the 260, the 5.8, everything like that, it's not that great. However, it has got 750 horsepower engine and 18.4 horsepower per ton, which is absolutely incredible. I've just realized there's the gun dispersions right here, Max. Oh, you idiot. Hang on. They're not great, but they're not tragic. So, yeah. I think the guns will still be pretty good. Sorry. I literally just noticed that. I was like, Max, they're right there, you idiot. Anyway, mobility. 18.4 horsepower per ton. The terrain resistance is, what does it just say? 1.2, 1.3, 2.4. What's that? Where's mobility? I've lost mobility. 1.2. So the terrain resistances are great. They are going to slow you down a little bit. It is going to bring it back down. However, the base horsepower per ton means that if you fit this thing with turbo, not only does that then put that up to 45, but you're then going to be absolutely rinsing on the horsepower per ton. And then I don't think the terrain resistances are actually going to make that much of a difference. Hull traverse and turret traverse are pretty much standard, so we won't worry too much about those. But mobility, it looks half decent. Like, it really does look pretty decent. Survivability is a little on the low side in terms of HP, 2,200. However, that's very similar. You're going to be used to that if you play 277, 5A. I think the 260s around there as well. And this is where this tank gets a little bit scary. We've all seen the preview video where this thing's hull down. 356mm of frontal turret armor. Obviously, at this point, we don't actually know what that is, where that is. That could literally just be the little ring around the edge of the gun. It could be the whole thing. These could be weak spots at the top. Without seeing a 3D model on Tank CG or something, we simply don't know yet. But that is a scary number. 102 at the sides, so not overmatchable, and 51 at the rear, which doesn't really matter. But the fact that this turret is the shape that it is, and you've got non-overmatchable sides, it's honestly going to depend on weak spots to whether this thing is like a new just hull down god. It's just going to be insane. Turret armor. Hull armor 178, really good, but again, it really depends where it is. It could be kind of like the E4, where it's just, or the E5, sorry, which it's just literally the beak. It could extend all the way up, in which case the upper plate is going to be insane. Could just be on the lower plate, and the upper plate could be the weak spot. We honestly, at this point, don't know. Potentially looking in here, I don't know if there's maybe like 2 and 5B weak spots here, like the kind of corners of the tank underneath the turret. I'm honestly not sure. 89mm on the side armor, so not overmatchable. Again, honestly, don't know though. So armor is still a little bit of a question mark. We won't know truly until the tank is actually released. And then the crew is commander, driver, gunner, and loader, which I think is the same as the majority of the American heavies that are currently in the game, which means if you did want to start training up a crew for this thing, you can start now. Just put a new crew in one of your tier 8 American premium heavies, start training it up, and then when this thing comes into the game, you'll pretty much be able to slot it straight in, and you'll be able to start farming straight from the off. Other than that, there are some pictures of this tank just here. We've got the M5Y. Like, you can just see this thing's just going to be absolutely insane. Like what the hell? It's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, who knows? Who knows without playing it? In my opinion, looking at it right now, I honestly think this potentially is going to be a new like meta tank. Potentially, if it stays the way it is, and as long as the armor isn't like really not as good as it looks on paper, I genuinely think that this thing could be used in competitive, especially with a 105mm gun. The DPM just means it's going to be insane at pushing in, the mobility enabling it to push in, and if it has the turret armor to stay hull down, it's just going to be an awesome tank. And I think they need to maybe tone it down a little bit as well, but we will see. That's all obviously everything subject to change. I don't think the 120 is really worth mentioning. I think everything is going to be on the 105. But yeah, that is our first look at the M5Y Yotank. I hope you have all enjoyed. Please let me know if you like this kind of style of video, if you want me to do more in the future. Also, let me know on what you think of the M5Y as well. Do you think it looks too good? Do you think it needs a buff? I don't think it does. But let me know down in the comments. I will leave a link to the forum post just here so that if you guys want to check it out yourself, you are more than welcome to. I'll leave that down in the comments. Other than that, if you have any other question, guys, please do comment. I'm trying to answer as many comments as I can. I'll answer pretty much all if you have any questions. Make sure you give the video a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Make sure you got notifications on, all that good YouTube stuff. And other than that, thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.